language learners! Today we are going to dive into English grammar. Preposition. Well, what is a preposition? A preposition is a word used to show the relationship between a noun or pronoun and other words in a sentence. It often indicates direction, location, time, or a method. For example, in "the book is on the table," on is the preposition showing the relationship between the book and the table. Prepositions are quite important. Without them, sentences would be jumbled and confusing, lacking direction, time, or place references. Here are some common prepositions of place and detailed explanations of how they are used. Number 1. In. In indicates that something is inside a space with boundaries. For example, the dog is in the house. In is used because the dog is inside the boundaries of the house, fully enclosed within it. Use in when something is enclosed within boundaries, whether physical, geographical, or metaphorical. Could refer to enclosed spaces like rooms, buildings, or even countries and cities. Number 2. On. On indicates that something is resting on a surface. For example, the dog is sitting on the couch. On is used because the dog is directly on top of the surface of the couch, in contact with it. Use on when something is directly in contact with a surface. This includes items on horizontal surfaces like tables or even vertical ones like walls. Number 3. At. At refers to a specific point or general location. For example, the dog is at the front door. At is used because the dog is positioned at a specific location, the front door, without being inside or on it. At is used for precise locations, specific points, or public places like bus stops, train stations, specific addresses. It's more general than in or on and often focuses on a point rather than an area. Number 4. Under. Under indicates that something is below or beneath another object. For example, the dog is hiding under the table. Under is used because the dog is positioned below the table, likely in a hidden spot beneath it. Use under when something is directly below another object and often out of sight. Number 5. Above. Above refers to a higher position, not necessarily directly on top. For example, the bird is flying above the dog. Above is used because the bird is at a higher level than the dog, not directly touching or connected but in a higher position. Above is used when something is higher than another object, though it may not be directly overhead. It implies distance or separation between the two objects. Number 6. Below. It is the opposite of above, indicating a lower position. For example, the dog is lying below the window. Below is used because the dog is in a lower position than the window. Use below to show that something is lower in position than another point or object. It implies there's a gap or distance. Number 7. Next to. Next to indicates that something is beside or adjacent to another object. For example, the dog is lying next to the cat. Next to is used because the dog is beside the cat, close to it, without much distance between them. Use next to when two objects are side by side without any significant space between them. It implies proximity or closeness. Number 8. Near. Near is similar to next to but allows for a small distance between objects. For example, the dog is near the door. Near is used because the dog is close to the door but there's some small distance between them. Use near for general closeness without specifying exact adjacency. There may be other objects or some distance between them, but they're still relatively close. Number 9. Behind. Behind indicates a position at the back of something. For example, the dog is hiding behind the curtain. Behind is used because the dog is positioned at the back of the curtain, likely hidden from view in front. Use behind when something is located at the back of another object, often not visible from the front. Number 10. In front of. In front of refers to a position that faces something directly or is opposite it. For example, the dog is sitting in front of the door, waiting to go out. In front of is used because the dog is positioned facing the door, directly opposite it. Use in front of to describe an object or person that is facing something directly or positioned opposite it. Number 11. Between. Between refers to an object situated in the middle of two other objects. For example, the dog is lying between two pillows. Between is used because the dog is positioned in the middle with a pillow on each side. This preposition shows that the dog is flanked by two objects, creating a position exactly in the center of the two pillows. Use between when an object or person is flanked by two other objects or people, forming a line or spatial arrangement. Number 12. Across from. Across from indicates something located on the other side of a point or object. For example, the dog barked at another dog across from the fence. Across from is used because the other dog is located on the opposite side of the fence directly facing the first dog. Use across from when something is situated directly opposite another, often on the other side of a street, river, or another dividing line. Number 13. Along. Along shows something that follows the length of a path, road, or line. For example, the dog ran along the path with its owner. Along is used because the dog is moving in line with the path, following the length of it. Use along when something extends or moves in line with a path or boundary. It often suggests a linear or directional movement. Number 14. Inside. Inside is similar to in but emphasizes being completely enclosed. For example, the dog ran inside the house when it started to rain. Inside is used because the dog moved fully within the enclosed space of the house to avoid the rain. Inside often emphasizes a closed or confined space, making it slightly stronger than in. Number 15. Outside. Side indicates that something is situated beyond the outer limits of a space. For example, the dog is playing outside the house. Outside is used because the dog is beyond the outer limits of the house, in an open space away from its boundaries. Use outside for something located beyond the perimeter or boundary of an enclosed space. And that's a wrap on this lesson preposition of place. As we've seen, these little words can make a big difference in describing exactly where things are, bringing scenes to life and adding clarity to what we say. Remember, the more you practice, the easier it becomes to pick the right preposition to paint a clear picture. If you found this helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more language tips. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like to learn next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep learning and keep practicing.